Modern life is immersed in a sea of constant stimuli, from cell phones that constantly vibrate to the endless news feeds on social networks. We are constantly immersed in a sea of information and distractions. Superstimulation has become a central characteristic of our existence. But are we truly aware of the consequences of this in our lives? Welcome. This is Life Momentum, and in this video, we will explore deeply the reasons why superstimulation is ruining our lives and how we can begin to regain control. The trap of hyperconnectivity. The first reason why superstimulation is ruining our lives is addiction to hyperconnectivity. We live in an era where we are always available, always online, and this is leading us to exhaustion. Psychologists have warned about the dangers of this constant connectivity, stating that we are distancing ourselves from real conversations and genuine connections with the people around us. What this means is that although we are more connected than ever virtually, we are becoming emotionally disconnected. The overstimulation caused by hyperconnectivity has a significant impact on our mental health. The constant flow of negative news and endless comparisons on social media contribute to high levels of stress, anxiety, and depression. Psychologist Sherry Turkle argues that this generation is the loneliest of all due to a lack of real human connections. Therefore, the relentless pursuit of digital connectivity is harming our emotional and psychological well-being. To combat this problem, it is essential to recognize the importance of disconnection. We need to set boundaries in our relationship with technology and learn to value authentic human interactions. As philosopher Harry observed, "He who binds himself to a joy does the winged life destroy, but he who kisses the joy as it flies lives in eternity's sunrise." So, the first step to overcoming superstimulation is recognizing the need to disconnect from time to time. The torment of constant multitasking. Another reason why superstimulation is ruining our lives is the belief in the myth of efficient multitasking. We believe we can do multiple tasks at the same time, but in reality, it makes us less productive and more stressed. Neuroscientist Earl Miller asserts that the human brain was not designed to multitask. When we try to do so, our productivity decreases and our stress levels rise. Constant multitasking also negatively affects the quality of our work. When we split our attention between multiple tasks, we cannot focus enough on any of them, resulting in errors, lack of creativity, and job dissatisfaction. Philosopher Arthur Schopenhauer said, "He who would accomplish little must sacrifice little. He who would achieve much must sacrifice much. He who would attain highly must sacrifice greatly." This reflects the idea that trying to do everything at once prevents us from excelling in anything. To combat superstimulation caused by constant multitasking, it's essential to practice mindfulness. Mindfulness helps us focus fully on one task at a time, thus improving our productivity and job satisfaction. Philosopher Simone Weil observed, "Attention is the rarest and purest form of generosity." Therefore, by giving our full attention to a task, we are being generous with ourselves and our work. The invasion of advertising and consumerism. Another reason superstimulation is ruining our lives is the constant bombardment of advertising. We are surrounded by ads everywhere we look, whether on television, social media, or even in the streets. Philosopher Jean Baudrillard argued that we live in a hyper-real society where the line between reality and advertising is increasingly blurred. Relentless advertising promotes rampant consumerism, making us believe that happiness is tied to the constant acquisition of material goods. However, this relentless pursuit of more things is leaving us in debt and dissatisfied. Philosopher Epicurus said, "Not what we have, but what we enjoy constitutes our abundance." So, it's essential to question our consumption impulses and seek happiness in meaningful experiences rather than material possessions. To combat superstimulation caused by advertising and consumerism, we need to develop awareness. We must actively question the values that advertising imposes on us and make conscious consumption decisions. As Socrates taught, the unexamined life is not worth living. By examining our consumption habits, we can find a more authentic path to personal satisfaction. The dilemma of infinite choice. Superstimulation is also ruining our lives due to the dilemma of infinite choice. We live in a society where we are inundated with choices in every area of life, from choosing a product at the supermarket to deciding on our career or partner. Psychologist Barry Schwartz argues that while choice is a fundamental freedom, too many options leave us paralyzed and dissatisfied. Analysis paralysis occurs when we become so overwhelmed with choices that we cannot make a concrete decision. This can lead to feelings of anxiety and frustration. Philosopher Jean-Paul Sartre observed, "Freedom is what you do with what's been done to you." In other words, the freedom of choice can be overwhelming. To deal with the dilemma of infinite choice, it's crucial to simplify our lives and decisions. We should focus on our values and priorities rather than getting lost in endless options. As philosopher Lao Tzu said, "Simplicity is the key to brilliance." By simplifying our choices, we can find more clarity and satisfaction in our lives. Information overload. Superstimulation also manifests as information overload. We are constantly bombarded with news, articles, videos, and messages, making it difficult to separate what is relevant from what is not. We live in a global and information-rich world, and this flood of information can be overwhelming and detrimental to our ability to concentrate. Information overload takes a significant toll on our attention and focus. When we constantly jump from one source of information to another, our minds become fragmented and incapable of deepening our understanding of any task. Remember, attention is the rarest and purest form of the spirit. Therefore, we must protect our attention against the flood of information. To combat superstimulation caused by information overload, we can adopt information minimalism. This involves actively filtering information sources, limiting time spent on news and social media, and prioritizing quality over quantity. Philosopher Albert Camus said, "What is true is what is needed." That is, by seeking necessary and relevant information, we can reduce superstimulation and find greater mental clarity. Lack of space for reflection. One of the most profound reasons superstimulation is ruining our lives is the lack of space for reflection. We are constantly rushing against time, filling our moments with activities and stimuli without even pausing to consider if what we are doing is good for us. Philosopher Blaise Pascal stated, "All of humanity's problems stem from man's inability to sit quietly in a room alone." This constant restlessness prevents us from finding meaning and purpose in our lives. Solitude is often seen as negative, but it is in solitude that we find space for deep reflection. It is in these moments of tranquility that we can contemplate our values, objectives, and priorities. Philosopher Jean-Jacques Rousseau said, "Man was born free, and he is everywhere in chains." Embracing solitude as an antidote to superstimulation is an effective way to find this space for reflection. Meditation is one powerful way to achieve this. Meditation helps calm the mind, cultivate mindfulness, and create internal space for introspection. Philosopher Alan Watts noted, meditation is the way to understanding the inner nature. By incorporating meditation into our routine, we can escape the trap of superstimulation and find inner clarity. Loss of appreciation for the present moment. Superstimulation also prevents us from appreciating the present moment. We are constantly preoccupied with the future or dwelling on the past, leaving little room to simply be in the present. Philosopher Alan Watts warned, the only way to make sense out of change is to plunge into it, move with it, and join the dance. When we are trapped in thoughts about the future or the past, we miss out on the richness of the present moment. The practice of mindfulness is a powerful way to regain appreciation for the present moment. Mindfulness teaches us to be fully present in the here and now, without judgment. Philosopher Thich Nhat Hanh said, life is available only in the present moment. By embracing mindfulness, we can find joy and serenity in the present moment. To combat superstimulation and regain appreciation for the present moment, we must learn to rediscover the joy in the small things in life. Sometimes, happiness is found in a sunset, a warm cup of tea, or a quiet conversation with a friend. Philosopher Epicurus reminds us, not what we have, but what we enjoy constitutes our abundance. By valuing these simple moments, we can find deep satisfaction in everyday life. Loss of creativity and innovation. Constant superstimulation also hinders our ability to be creative and innovative. When we are overwhelmed with information and distractions, we have no mental space for new ideas and insights. Philosopher Friedrich Nietzsche observed, one must still have chaos in oneself to be able to give birth to a dancing star. True creativity often arises when our minds are in a state of creative rest, when we allow our thoughts to wander and are not focused on specific tasks. Physicist Albert Einstein used to say that his best ideas came to him when he was taking a walk. Therefore, it's important to give the mind time and space to roam and create. To regain our creativity and innovation, we must cultivate mental stillness. This involves moments of disconnection, time for reflection, and actively seeking out experiences that stimulate our creativity. Philosopher John Locke said, the mind is free to think when it is not preoccupied. By creating mental space for creativity, we can open doors to new possibilities in our lives. Lack of authenticity. Superstimulation also pressures us to conform to societal expectations. We are constantly exposed to idealized images of success and happiness, leading us to follow paths that are not authentic to us. Philosopher Ralph Waldo Emerson said, to be yourself in a world that is constantly trying to make you something else is the greatest accomplishment. Finding authenticity amidst superstimulation is a significant challenge. To regain our authenticity, we need to embark on a journey of self-discovery. We must question external pressures and tune into our own values and desires. Philosopher Socrates reminds us, know thyself. As we better understand ourselves, we can make decisions that are aligned with our true essence rather than blindly following social expectations. Authenticity is intrinsically linked to integrity. We must act according to our values and principles, even when faced with external pressures to be different. Philosopher Confucius said, in doing what we ought, we deserve no praise. By living with integrity, we can inspire others to do the same and create a more authentic and meaningful society. the path to recovery. Now that we have explored the 10 reasons why superstimulation is ruining our lives, it's crucial to recognize the need for change. Superstimulation is not a problem that can be ignored, as it has profound implications for our mental health, well-being, and quality of life. The first step to recovery is cultivating awareness. We must be mindful of the signs of superstimulation in our lives and recognize when we are feeling overwhelmed. Philosopher Simone de Beauvoir said, "One is not born, but rather becomes a woman." In the same way, by recognizing the suffering caused by superstimulation, we can begin to take steps to change. Once we are aware of superstimulation in our lives, it is crucial to set boundaries. We must learn to say no to unnecessary distractions, define schedules for technology use, and create space for disconnection and reflection. Remember that it is of utmost importance to teach people, especially children, how to use technology to enhance their lives while regulating their exposure to it. There is a saying in technology that when the product is free, you are the product. Our attention is being competed for by a multitude of apps, and at the end of the day, we are left with no time to simply sit and contemplate our own lives and experiences. But it should not be this way. You would be surprised at what your mind can achieve when you let it wander for a moment. By recognizing the importance of disconnection, mindfulness, awareness, simplicity, reflection, appreciation of the present, and creativity, we can begin to make more conscious choices in our lives. So, I invite you to examine your own life, recognize the presence of superstimulation, and take steps to regain control and find a more authentic and meaningful path amidst the chaos in which we live. After all, life is a precious gift, and it is our duty to live it fully with clarity and purpose. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like the video, comment, and subscribe to the channel. I will also leave 2 videos here that you might be interested in watching. Take care, and until next time, stay focused, be happy.